The moment she leaned close and whispered my name, I understood something terrifyingly simple. Some nights don't end when the sun comes up, they wait, patient and alive, until the exact second they can ruin or redeem everything you've built. I didn't plan to stay late that evening. Single dads never do. We plan our lives in 15-minute blocks, measured by school pickups, microwave dinners, and bedtime stories that end with a child's cheek pressed against our shoulder. But the board meeting ran long. The city outside the glass walls of the office darkened into a field of lights, and by the time everyone filed out, I was the last one left standing across from her, our CEO, the woman whose voice could quiet a room of executives with a single raised finger. She thanked me for my presentation, professional and warm, then turned to leave. That should have been the end. Instead, she paused at the door, as if listening to a thought she wasn't sure she should trust. When she came back, the space between us felt charged, as if the building itself was holding its breath. She spoke quietly, the words meant only for me, and said she had tried to forget that night and failed. I wish I could say I didn't know what she meant. But memory is a cruel thing. It doesn't ask permission before it opens doors you nailed shut years ago. That night, years earlier, was a fundraiser afterparty, a mess of music and laughter and too much wine. I was newer then, still learning how to keep my heart locked away after my wife's death. She wasn't the CEO yet, just a brilliant executive with a smile that hid more than it showed. We talked on a balcony overlooking the river, the city humming below us like a living thing. Grief loosened my tongue, ambition sharpened hers. For a few hours, we were just two people telling the truth to someone who listened. And then, just before dawn, we crossed a line neither of us pretended not to see. In the cold light of morning, we agreed it could never happen again. Careers were at stake. My son needed stability. She needed credibility in a world that punished women for softness. We buried it. Or so I thought. Now, years later, she stood in front of me, eyes steady, voice low. "I'm not asking for anything," she said. "I just needed you to know." I drove home with my hands shaking on the steering wheel. My son was asleep when I got there, his dinosaur nightlight casting green shadows on the wall. I watched him breathe and wondered how many choices a person gets before they run out. I wondered whether honesty is braver than silence, or if silence is just another word for fear. By morning, I decided to act like nothing had changed. That's what responsible adults do, I told myself. But life has a way of testing the stories we tell ourselves. And the first test came sooner than I expected. The real danger wasn't what she whispered, it was what happened when the world started whispering back. The next few weeks were relentless. Deadlines tightened. Rumors floated like smoke through the office, invisible but choking. She was harder on me than ever, precise and demanding, and I couldn't tell if it was professionalism or penance. At home, my son asked why I looked tired all the time, and I lied because that's what parents do when they don't know how to explain the truth. Then everything cracked open on a rainy Thursday night. My son's school called, he'd fallen during practice and needed stitches. I left the office without thinking, apologizing to no one. At the hospital, while he slept under a thin blanket, I checked my phone and saw a single missed call from her. No voicemail. Just the call. I didn't return it. Instead, I sat there, listening to the rain hit the windows, and realized something I'd been avoiding. I wasn't afraid of loving her again. I was afraid of failing my son. The following Monday, she asked me to step into her office. The blinds were open, the city stared back at us. She didn't whisper this time. She spoke plainly, like the leader she was. She told me she admired the way I showed up, for my work, for my child, for everyone but myself. She said she had spent years outrunning her own heart, thinking success would make the ache disappear. It hadn't. "I won't risk your family," she said. "Or mine, this company. But I won't pretend either. Not anymore." That honesty changed everything. Not because it gave us permission to be together, but because it gave us permission to be human. We set boundaries that were painful and necessary. We involved HR, disclosed what needed to be disclosed, and restructured my role so no shadow of favoritism could survive. It was awkward. It was hard. People talked. Some left. Some stayed. The company endured. At home, I stopped lying. I told my son that sometimes grown-ups feel pulled in different directions, and that doing the right thing doesn't always feel good at first. He nodded, serious, and told me heroes feel scared too. Months passed. The tension softened into something steadier. Respect deepened. Friendship returned, stronger because it had survived the truth. And then, one evening, long after the storm had cleared, she came to my son's school play. She sat a few rows back, clapping harder than anyone when he bowed. Afterward, as we walked to the parking lot, she didn't whisper. She smiled and asked if we wanted to get ice cream. That's when I understood the lesson that night had been trying to teach me all along. Love isn't proven by secrets or stolen moments. It's proven by patience, by choosing integrity when shortcuts beckon, by building something that can stand in the light. Some nights refuse to be forgotten because they're not meant to be. They're meant to be understood, then transformed into a future where no one has to whisper to be heard.